Boris, welcome to the Forum for the Future of Agriculture. You have spoken on the panel earlier today, the panel that was on how can nature-based solutions drive resilience and sustainability in the agri-food system, and how can we do better to align incentives to accelerate change. You are the Director of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN. And I know that you're a strategic partner, the IUCN is a strategic partner of the Forum. So these are big questions and not enough time really to answer them all. But in terms of what you wanted to land with the audience, whose ear you wanted today, just give me a flavour of that.
First of all, I have to say thank you for having me or for having us. IUCN is a partner, and IUCN is an organization that speaks with partners, and it's trying really to provide that knowledge and evidence to different audiences. And this particular one, because agriculture is so important, and it's not just agriculture, it's about our food systems, it's about our sustenance, it's about our future, and in particular here in Europe. And that was driving our decision to join this partnership, and also to be part of discussions in Brussels and with member states in countries at different levels on how can we improve those systems, because what we see that they are quite fragile, and that there is not enough resilience in it. And of course that this transformative change that needs to happen, and it needs to happen at scale, is not happening yet. So basically that's what brings us here in order to support that discussion.
You were on an esteemed panel. I think there was a conversation about who was a doctor, and that your doctoral studies are still underway. But what did you think of the expertise that you heard around the panel in terms of trying to answer how we make this transformation and this shift?
Yeah, that was almost like, stole the day. So I might be thinking to shift the scope of my thesis into agri-food systems and something along those lines, and how nature-based solutions can support. What we are seeing a lot of it. A lot of yes, in terms of yes, we understand that we need to change. Yes, that change has to go more hand in hand with nature. But what we are not seeing yet actually is that real action. And that's why the point that I was really trying to get across is that scale means actually much more bold decisions in terms of policy making. We need subsidies to turn into incentives for those who are making their business, who are making their day-to-day more in line with nature protection and biodiversity. And we really need to reward those. So basically that's the change at scale that needs to happen. So we have a lot of ingredients, but we really have to put them together.
So we have the yes, but do we have the how, or do we have the agreement on where to incentivize and how to get there?
That's what the discussion is about, yeah. And we would really like to make that change happen. We did publish a number of interesting and important volumes on what a sustainable agriculture means. We are just preparing another one that's to be out this year, which is to help develop that matrix for sustainable agriculture that was discussed today. So we need some concrete indicators on how to measure, and of course that we have to start changing the value system that we are developing industries, that we are developing economies, that we are developing policies around. We are not seeing nature being really central to it. We still see systems being next to each other, like food and climate and nature. Really need to integrate them, meaning basically that those who are having those agriculture practices that are supportive of all those support systems and ecosystems and biodiversity, they have to be rewarded.
How important is it to bring this thinking together in a forum like this, albeit brief for the big rethink that is needed, but how important is it to have voices heard and interconnected?
If these voices were not here, we wouldn't be probably also here. So for us, it's essentially important. We don't think that there is any particular future. This forum is about the future of agriculture. And it's not just about agriculture. It's about ourselves. If these discussions are not part of it, then we would probably not be here. I mean, that wouldn't be a rule, and we wouldn't see that future future of agriculture without these discussions. So we are happy that discussions are taking place, but we really need to see more of action.
You talk heavily about evidence, so whether it's nature-based solutions around your food, water, health security, you need the facts, but there is always conjecture and disagreement about the facts. This is one part of the complexity, right?
Yes, certainly. And some of the facts in terms of nature-based solutions providing almost like 30% of mitigation goals of the Paris Agreement, and that's a World Bank's estimate. And a recent publication of ILO, UNEP, and IUCN showing that we have around 75 million jobs in nature-based solutions today that can be turned into 100 million jobs tomorrow. So those are just some of the numbers that speak to the fact that nature-based solutions and the nature. When we say nature-based solutions, what we essentially mean is that we have to respect nature and we have to support nature. So from an economy that draws on nature, that derives from nature, we need to develop an economy that integrates nature.
Respect for nature is something that came through very, very strongly. And also the debate around what resilience means, if I can ask you that finally next. How would you define resilience, and maybe what next steps would you say after we leave this forum? What happens next? What's the first priority from your point of view?
It's a good question about resilience. We worked a lot on social resilience, on economic resilience, on environmental resilience, or resilience of ecosystems, resilience of communities. So that's exactly what needs to grow together. It's a simple example, and one of my first jobs was where there was a water management authority, then was a forest management authority, then there was agriculture, farmers, not the management authority, but farmers itself. They were lying next to each other. So there were 3 different parallel lines that were doing their own business, and very rarely they would come together and then to look into water management that feeds the forest, and that water that feeds the agricultural land, and forest that protects the agricultural land. So that's the way how we should start thinking, and then we can speak about resilience.
Thank you, Boris. Enjoy the rest of the forum.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.